have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English News here in the morning.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East-West Show that is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history, hand-forged by 10 generations of the #1 craftsman on the global earth. That stands for a testimony to the spectacular and the share of the royal glory. So, to the show. With me today is my dear friend, Mr. Ken Hemming, a book writer, a philosopher, and our special political commentator for the show on our bi-weekly special. Right? So, welcome to the show.
You know, this is the place on planet Earth I want to be, Jack, with your viewers and you. Thank you for letting me be here.
And by the way, by November the 20th of this year, 2019, this gentleman would have accomplished his 250th show with me, Jack Chow, on the East-West Show.
I'm speechless. What can I say? Your tolerance is appreciated.
All right,
for me being
thank you
here.
very much. I do tolerate, right?
Yeah, I know. Very much so.
I do tolerate.
Yeah.
I tolerate a lot. I can tolerate you for 250 times.
Not
right?
easy, but it's good.
Not easy, dude.
Yeah.
All right, good. It is my best part of my life to be with my friend Ken Hemming on shows. We argue, we laugh, we get angry, we get excited. We pound our table, whatsoever. We do all kinds of things to make points clear while entertaining you.
Yes, sir.
Right, good.
And informing
For that, we have been doing 250 times by November 15th.
20th, yeah.
And good by November 15th is the day.
Yes, okay.
But the 20th is the celebration of. Okay, let me tell you. Sit tight.
Yes, sir.
Sit tight. Hold on your breath.
I am.
By then, of course, together, will be finishing the 1,370 shows within 7.5 years.
It's a tremendous accomplishment, and it's a great blessing to your viewers to get the exposure to you in your mind and your patriotism.
When I look at the record, I suddenly felt that I'm getting old.
You're getting better.
Although, well, okay, now we started for 6 years and a half, with 5 shows per week.
Yes.
That means 1 show per day.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And starting last year, we made it to twice each week.
Yes.
So otherwise, we will probably be hitting 2,000 already.
Well, you were doing 260 shows a year, and
Yeah.
and you showed up every day, and you shared your mind every day with your viewers.
Oh my God! When I look back at the numbers, I was so surprised. Did I do this much, or have I done this much?
It's
Like,
very serious. It's very
good.
great accomplishment.
Anyway, my dear brothers, sisters, my dear audiences, we thank you for your support. Without you, that could not be achieved, and everything possible made by you. All right, thank you very much. All right, back to the subject today. In our bi-weekly for this time, what do you have on top?
Well, I guess
I believe I can go ahead with a guess.
Yeah, I guess. Take a guess. Well, the #1 thing that you see on TV now is all about this very dark days in America, the radical left deep state in our country, which includes the media, it includes Hollywood, and it includes lifetime people in Congress to try to remove our president, duly elected by the citizens of America, from office, because he came in as what America was looking for, an outsider, not a politician, in the deep state, whether it was Republican or Democrat. They just had such control over everything, and they would just kind of work together and just maintain their control and put their regulations on or whatever. President Trump's coming in to try to wipe out the deep state, have Congress more representative of the people, like you and I in America, and they don't like that. So it's a very serious coup attempt, immoral, illegal, and very unnice.
I'm not totally arguing with you. I would like to make a little revision.
Yes, sir.
That is, before we use the word to take control,
Yeah.
we would rather take a second consideration in revising it into, say, trying to take control. Because I understand, under this beautiful constitution, under this beautiful flag of democracy, nobody can ever try to control the country. Right.
However,
we have a democracy, we have two parties, we have 300 millions of people,
right,
each with a pair of good eyes, of good judgment, right? So, no deal to feel panic. We just give a little comment and analysis of the impeachment. How about that?
However, though, if America ever elected a socialist president, then our country is doomed.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We're
You're right. We are, however, still opening all the possibilities. Let our voters, let our people to vote their own president.
Right.
Well, should they decide one day to vote a socialist? Go ahead.
Well, it would be the end of America.
Yeah, let's do United Socialist State of America, something like that. But I do doubt 100% that our people would choose to go that way.
See, one thing going on right now, we don't know who's going to be the, I call it socialist candidate, because it's not there's no democracy in socialism. And Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are committed socialists. And so they do not support democracy. But
I would
what happened?
I would say by the time when they are committing themselves or declare they commit to socialism, they declare their failure already.
I believe,
because
hope and pray you're right. Yeah.
Because Americans would not choose anybody
Yeah.
with a socialist idea, or would say they will never choose anybody who, blatantly label themselves as socialists.
Right, yeah. Right. And then one development your viewers probably aren't aware of, it just happened this morning. Bernie Sanders had a heart issue yesterday and had to have some stents, 2 stents put in his heart. There was some blockage of the flow of blood. And so right now he's out of the race for a couple weeks while he's recovering. And that gives more momentum to Elizabeth Warren.
No, that's another issue. And had he been in perfect health, right? Had he been as loud as he is,
yeah.
I would still do it with an open door policy.
Yeah, okay.
And how about that, right?
Yeah.
With the confidence in the Constitution, with constant confidence of our own people.
Our own people.
Who do have a choice of themselves, though.
Right.
Let them decide. Number one, go ahead and impeach our president.
Go ahead and try.
And go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
Right? So, wish them good luck.
Yeah.
And number two, if you really want to pick up a socialist, there are good examples of a socialist.
There are.
Right?
That is the way it is.
So go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, pick some.
You're right. Yeah.
Go ahead, pick some. Right? And I seriously doubt they would.
That they could, yeah.
Right.
Now, what's happened is this deep state. Of course, Hillary Clinton was our other candidate in the last election. They were planning to kind of not allow President Trump to win the election before the election even happened. So during the campaign, they were looking for dirt.
That's in the details.
Yeah, they were.
That's in the details, right?
Yeah.
And now that you mentioned the word deep state,
yeah,
I do believe somewhere, somehow, we do have a deep state situation. And I remember, was that with you or with Chris Neby? We did a show for the deep state.
Probably Chris, who I admire.
Chris, right?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe Chris. We did do a deep state. We believe that there is some kind of underground
it's very
current, undercurrent going on. However, I want to, number one, calm you down a little bit. Do not feel any tension. Do not feel nervous, because nothing will go wrong. Nothing will possibly be going wrong, because this country has endured more than 200 years of those ups and downs of challenges.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
so I believe that we can stand it.
Yeah. Now, right now, we have, concrete evidence that both the CIA.
And secondly, I want to comfort my audiences that we are not facing a crisis, and only the situation is worth our analysis.
That's great.
Am I right?
I like that.
Right. With that said, I want once again make my position clear. I'm no supporter of Donald Trump. I am a supporter of our Constitution.
And I am supporter.
I want to make it a fair play. As a media man, I want everybody get a chance to speak up their mind. However, the doors are open. The United States will remain the United States.
Well,
that's what I say.
I hope so.
All right,
yeah.
good.
Well, see, because right now we do have evidence that the CIA, the Department of Justice, and the FBI
will
all
come
have
back
people.
to pick the details.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
All
you.
right, my dear friends, let's take a short moment. We will be right back on the points. Stay with us.
Everything is expected and straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
Oh,
My
name
is
Paul James. I host English news every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West, which is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelry with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 4 generations of the #1 craftsman on the global earth. Together, they stand for a testimony to the spectacular and a share of the royal glory. Back to my friend Ken Hemming. With him, we're doing the bi-weekly update. In this bi-weekly update, I would say no subject will surpass the importance of the
It's true.
impeachment movement.
Right.
When I call it a movement, I do see the momentum. I do see the scale. Right? When I say do not panic, it is totally because I don't think anything could be done. That's my take. So let's talk about the possibilities.
Yes.
And then we talk about why they impeach.
Well,
how likely do you think, either by the evidence so far or by processing necessary steps, how likely can this president be impeached?
Well, okay. It all started with the Russia hoax of collusion, okay? Then that fizzled out, all right? Because there was no validity to it. Then it went to, we're going to have a big recession, so he's not a good leader. That's fizzling out. We've got a strong economy. Now they're going to their next one, and there'll be one after this, after this, after this. This, all relating to a phone call with President Trump and the president of the Ukraine, which are friendly, and it was very, I have read every word of the transcript of that, okay? And there's no quid pro quo where you say, you do this for me, America will do this for you. And so they may get the votes in the House. They haven't even called for a vote yet, which would then if he were impeached by the House, it goes to the Senate, which will never pass.
I capitulate to your way.
Okay, yeah.
Let's do the detail first, and then we conclude the likeliness later.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's see what the details are. I'm kind of a homework guy, right?
Yeah, we are.
I do not like conclusions or label any issues myself. I would rather prefer the kind of layer by layer digging.
Okay.
Until we get to the core of the audience. Right?
Sure.
Now, question number one. When was the content of the conversation by the quote-unquote whistleblowers go public?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Maybe it went public 14 days, 13, 12 days ago or something. However, more than a month ago, they were talking, the radical Dems were talking about the Ukraine, and they knew that the whistleblower, who was, and there's no whistle to blow, he is an inside CIA,
I know.
essentially
my
anti-American person.
original question was that,
say 2 weeks.
Nancy Pelosi declared the movement,
Right.
the campaign,
Right.
before or after she saw the content of the script?
Well, before.
Before?
Before
Okay.
she read, see what they said. They
All
said
right,
President Trump's not going to release it. He's not going to release it. He does things that are very, very, very intelligent.
No.
He just released the whole conversation.
Don't confuse myself.
Okay.
Don't confuse my audience.
Yeah.
I'm pinpointing my question with a timeline.
Right.
Right?
She
in other words, she declared the campaign of impeachment before seeing the content of the
conversation.
script.
Yes, absolutely.
Of the script of the conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
All right. By logic, how can a person be so sure what's inside the content of the script that deserves to call it a campaign of impeachment?
Well, really, it's only by the blindness of ideology that these people possess. Okay, they don't care what the facts are, seriously, because there are so many false statements that are just false on their surface. It doesn't take a genius to recognize some lies. So their ideology is whether it's this or something else, they want to get rid of President Trump.
As long
anything and do anything.
As long as American politics, or as long as our Constitution allows the action of impeachment, I have no problem of any time of impeaching any president.
But it needs to be on substantive evidence of a crime and misdemeanor against the country.
Let me finish my whole sentence.
Yeah.
Right? So I have no problem with that as long as the politics system allows, our Constitution allows. However, it has to be backed up with at least logic. Am I saying? You don't understand what I'm saying?
With facts, not logic.
Logic is that you do
Proof
not discover the content before the content
it's ridiculous.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely, perfectly spoken. Yeah, and that's what they've done, and I mean it's almost unbelievable. I have a hard time.
Or you can say, you launched the impeachment for the suspicion.
Well, that's just unprecedented.
For the doubt.
It's unprecedented, and it's with malintent.
Yeah. For a doubt, right? For a doubt.
Only it's ideological desire.
Yeah. Does the Constitution allow the impeachment with the ideological desire?
Not really. It's laid out clearly in the rules for impeachment that, but of course you can always say, if you get a bunch of people in Congress that if Donald Trump said, "I love my mother," they could consider that a crime. If they all want to just do it, they could try to do it. They can call a vote, Jack, for no reason.
No. We have to follow the logic. we have to follow Constitution, right?
Yes, we do.
Whenever Constitution does not say loving one's mother is a crime, it's never a crime.
And neither does it say that talking to another
You
president is a
can
crime.
move all the 435 members of Congress, even including all Republicans, to conclude that loving one's mother is a crime, though. Loving one mother is still not a crime.
Yeah, that's true. Now, see what's happening. Nancy Pelosi, to move with impeachment, she's supposed to call for a vote where a majority in the House then want to proceed with an investigation and a trial on impeachment.
For that,
and she hasn't called the vote.
she has to see evidence herself. Am I right?
It's never progressed in this manner before in American history.
Yeah,
because
I want you to confirm.
yeah.
Did she need to see the evidence first?
Well, with any sense of dignity and reason, yes. And she didn't.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Now we say when the movement was launched before the content went public, was that based on logic?
It was based on ideology and a desire to remove President Trump.
Okay, all right, good. That's clear already. We do not have
it's
to
clear.
argue on that point. It is clear. It is self-evidence.
Yeah.
Itself.
Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi herself could be a reasonable thinker. Okay, she's been there way too long. Can be a reasonable thinker, but the radical left,
I'm neither a supporter of Donald Trump nor a supporter of Nancy Pelosi, and I'm not an enemy of either of them.
But she's lost her power over her caucus in the House because the radical left, who are very extreme, have pushed her to do this against her own will.
I maybe read an article from where? I forgot where I picked the article.
You read a lot, Jack.
Say they went across the Rubicon.
Yeah, they crossed the line.
They crossed the line, right?
Yeah.
So it was not necessary to do such, but they did it.
Just like they did with Russia, just like they did with Kavanaugh, how they mistreated and tried to annihilate his existence on planet Earth.
Now let's see the details, right?
Okay.
So now, what exactly? I believe you went through all the contents
Read
of
every
the
word. Yeah.
script.
Yes.
I did too.
Several times.
Right, several times.
Yeah.
Right. So did you see anything wrong there, or any word not properly exchanged?
I did not. Now, there are some lawyers that will say, oh, if you even mention, can you help me on something, that's a crime. It's not a crime. But when the lawyers have that same ideology, then they put their, quote, expertise, assumed because they're a lawyer, into their ideology, and they utter what they want to say.
Was there a hint?
No.
In the conversation?
No. And also now we know that Attorney General William Barr listened to the conversation, never said anything, and they're saying, oh, that's no good, he can't listen to that. Of course he can. The job of the president is to protect America and its citizens. And when there is corruption, this whole Ukraine thing came way back when it could be traced to Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the campaign that went, including John Brennan, who was in charge of the CIA, goes to the Ukraine on a false passport to ask for help and looking for dirt on President Trump. They all saw it through the Ukraine because it's close to Russia.
Yeah, let's do one by one. Let's do one by one. My dear friend, lovely audiences, today in the bi-weekly, my friend Ken Hemming and I, we are talking about the impeachment. However, when we talk about the impeachment, we are just saying, we're not saying yes or no to the impeachment. We're talking about the fact that there are some legality, there are some logics behind. Once you lose the logic of the issue, though, you don't stand on solid ground, right? And we are just touching base with the solid ground. Say, by logic, you launched the impeachment before the evidence went public.
Absolutely.
Now, second step, in looking at the evidence, though, we once again fail to find strong evidences of misconduct.
Correct.
Let alone illegal conduct.
Yeah.
All right. What you want to see maybe some hint or by hinting, well, you can say I'm hinting, well, whatsoever. I don't know the legal judgment, legal definition on to word hinting, but anyway, let's take a short moment out. We come back to continue right away.
Everything we have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West with Ken Hemming. On the bi-weekly update, we are talking about the undergoing impeachment, which is exactly piping hot now.
It's
right?
cooling down.
It may cool
it's
down,
losing speed.
but still is a big issue.
Yeah, it's all they talk about.
I call it unprecedented.
It is.
Because no impeachment was launched based on the findings so far.
Right, correct.
You may say Clinton, you may say whoever, but I found more solid evidence back then than now.
Yes,
right?
sir, that's
the
correct.
problem. Now, we found out that number one, the impeachment was launched before evidence went in public. And number two, with the evidence itself, though, we did not find, evident violation of illegal
Correct. Yeah.
activities, right?
Yeah, worthy of impeachment.
Only we're talking is about a hint. By hinting with legal determination, we have to wait a little bit until more findings are going out. Now, third layer, right? How much do you know about Junior Biden and his deal with the Ukraine?
This is very serious.
With the natural gas company.
Yeah, there's Joe Biden, and then there's his son, Hunter Biden, okay? Now, Hunter Biden, Joe's son, was forced out of the Navy, probably dishonorably for drug use in the Navy. 2 months after that, with no experience, he was appointed a board member on Burisma, which is a large oil and gas energy company in the Ukraine. He was paid $50,000 a month. That's a lot, okay? Nobody else gets that kind of money. And we believe, I think obviously, that allows the Ukraine to have direct access and probably preference with Vice President at that time, Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden says he never talked to his son about anything like that. He never talked to, he didn't know what his son was doing. Now we have a photograph in 2014 of Joe Biden, his son, and 2 Burisma board members playing golf in America. So, I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's absolutely not a truthful statement to say he didn't do that. Now, also then, Hunter Biden went on Air Force 2, which is for the vice president, with Vice President Biden to China. And like a week after that, China doesn't just loosely throw money around, okay? And Hunter Biden was a member of this kind of a small investment group, all right? Which, you know, you get your money by who you know. And about a week and a half after he came back from China, China invested $1.5 billion in their business. Now, no matter how you look at it, that's a lot of money. Okay, and so we believe. I think it's obvious that it was a matter of just buying access and favors from Joe Biden, who's an acting vice president. And one of the things Joe Biden's job was, assigned by Obama, was to just handle the Ukraine. So it's an unbelievable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
Don't get excited. I'm not talking about imagination.
These are facts.
Of connections.
These
right?
are facts.
I'm more interested in the fact of the firing of the chief prosecutor of that story.
And may I tell you something?
How much do you know about that?
Quite a bit, because the prosecutor issued a sworn statement, okay, which I read a lot of pages, his words, where he indicated that, yes, he was fired by the direction of the Obama administration and Joe Biden. We have a video of Joe Biden. I don't know how he could do this because he's smarter than that, bragging that he was going to leave the Ukraine. He went to the Ukraine to try to get this prosecutor that was investigating Burisma, the company, and Hunter Biden, to fire the prosecutor to relieve the tension coming from that investigation. And Joe Biden told the president of the Ukraine then, a different person, where they were much more corrupt than now.
So Vladimir Zelensky.
Well, that was, he's the current one. No, there's one before him. This guy's a good guy. We hope. But he said, okay, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If you don't fire that prosecutor in 6 hours, I'm not going to give you the $1 billion aid that we had planned.
Is there evidence of him saying that?
He's on tape, right in front of it. You see him.
On tape?
Bragging about it. Totally evidence. And so then Joe Biden brags. I just don't know why you do this, because you don't want to display your inappropriate actions, okay? I mean, you and I are smarter than that.
It's a clumsy act.
It's unbelievable. And so there, it's a total quid pro quo. You don't get $1 billion unless you fire this guy. That's what a quid pro quo. You have to receive something of value as resulting from a threat.
And that guy was fired.
And he was fired. In his whole thing, I've read every like 20 pages, a sworn statement that it was the Biden and America's pressure on the president of Ukraine to fire the prosecutor that relieved, that's kind of stopped the investigation on Burisma. And it's hard to believe this happens. But that's exactly.
It is interesting to find that, right?
Oh, it's very.
I do not want to indicate one wrong point. The wrong point being that it doesn't mean that once you did it, that I can do it again.
Well, correct.
Right?
Yeah,
Another word. Once you did it and got away with it, it doesn't mean that I can do the same thing.
See, this is what I think, Jack.
You do know my point?
I know your point, yeah. But see, here's the thing. I really think that the Democratic National Committee, the Socialist Party, I call it now, really does not want Biden to be their running person, okay, their candidate for president. Because the radical left have taken over, and they're committed to having a socialist.
You're saying they do not, or they do?
I think they do not. And I think because when they're going after Trump in the Ukraine, if they didn't mention Trump in the Ukraine, Biden, this wouldn't have been publicized as it is now. So, and this is going to dramatically hurt Biden's chance of getting more financial support and becoming the candidate, because it's true dirt, okay? I mean, it's true abuse of power. And so I don't believe he's got a chance now to be their candidate.
I'm totally confused.
Okay.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
But you were saying that they do not want to pose Biden as their candidate?
I believe that the party in whole, which is now run by...
Who else? They would...
the media, of course, Hollywood, they'd rather have a radical leftist socialist than... Joe Biden was just kind of a normal politician for a while, okay? I didn't agree with how he thought or whatever, but now that even they're pushing him to say, okay, we need Medicare for all, they're pushing him to these socialist ideals. And I think it's almost a subplot, so that will slowly move. And Elizabeth Warren now is up even or ahead of him in the polls.
That's my first time.
Yeah.
That's my first time. I never heard that. But so far, Joe Biden remains the front.
He's not the favorite now.
Yeah.
But it's tight. Okay.
Well, you just wait. When the impeachment thing is kind of cooling down,
it will.
Right. Which will.
It will.
Of course. And now is piping hot, but it will. I mean, when this cools down, though, and Joe Biden will pick up.
Well, if he's the candidate, just think of the Republican National Committee, the ads they'll have on there with Joe Biden bragging about intimidating a president of another country to stop investigating his son. They'll be on ads, millions of ads. And that will be very detrimental to his chances.
All right,
because Americans don't like that.
Well, I'm still confused. Let me let me tell you where I'm confused when we come back. Let's take a short moment out, all right, my dear friend. We'll be right back.
Everything expected straight. It's like seeing John Wayne.
My name is Paul James. I am host of English News.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audience. Welcome back to the East-West Show on the bi-weekly update with my friend Ken Hemming. We are doing this East-West bi-weekly, and we're right now at a point of sharing with you our take concerning the impeachment. However, we're not talking about the impeachment news front. We're digging behind the news to get into the inside. So that's why we say impeachment and it's behind, right? Behind the impeachment, we want to find out, number one, we know that it is Nancy Pelosi who launched the impeachment, or at least officially launched.
They had a secret meeting with all the Democrats, and I think they forced her to do it.
Then, who was the one to let the word out of Joe Biden, of Hunter Biden, of Ukraine?
Well, I saw this like a year ago. I saw the tape. I saw him bragging a year ago, and it just sort of died because there was nobody to keep the fire alive.
And who brought it up once again?
Well, right when they got into the Ukraine again, all right, then this is all Ukrainian. And as a matter of fact, a wealthy Ukrainian that lives in Washington, D.C. and California named Pasternak, he had two fundraisers for Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff has great ties with the Ukraine. Hillary, let's see, was it Hillary? No, Elizabeth Warren had a staff member, a beautiful Ukrainian girl that was described as a Ukrainian party girl and in the government focus in the Ukraine and now in D.C. So there's all of these ties lead these radical or people that are going after Trump for the Ukraine. They all have these tremendous ties. In Hunter Biden's wife, Hunter's got problems, okay? I'm sorry if a guy has problems. He's done a lot of drug stuff, and his wife, quote, says that he spent all of his money on prostitutes and drugs. And that's his wife, his ex-wife. So, I mean, who knows? She's not sitting here, but it's been quoted a lot. So, you know, there's problems there. And so he didn't have a skill set making him worth $600,000 a year.
Who brought those story out?
Well, it was out a year ago, then it died, and it just came right back up right away.
And who,
now, I don't know
who brought it back up again?
Well, it wasn't CNN, so it would have to be somebody in the media that brought it up, and President Trump has
from the left or from the right?
Oh, probably from the conservative story because it's a very naughty thing. Yeah, in the left, of course, they said, you know, if you try to criticize or disclose information of a negative nature on the left about the left people, they do everything they can to shut you up. Joe Biden wrote a letter to all the media networks encouraging them, asking them, do not let Rudy Giuliani be on your shows because Rudy's Trump's lawyer. He's not afraid of anybody. He tells the truth, and he tells it like it is. So they're trying to, see, we have a freedom, the First Amendment is freedom of speech. Joe Biden's letter tried to snuff freedom of speech by Rudy Giuliani. It's just
well,
insane.
it was not long ago when Joe Biden made his election campaign.
Yes, sir.
In his announcement, he declared that his slogan would be bring American moral back.
And that's just the most hypocritical, fallacious comment humanly possible. We are a moral country.
You think that way?
Christianity very hardly exists in the Democratic Party, Jack. It doesn't exist.
I believe I express my strong support for that slogan, and I really want to see something what he mentioned would happen.
The Christians,
but right now,
the Christians are under unbelievable attack in the world, in America. That's where morals and ethics and integrity come from, a foundation of belief.
But right now, what I see, especially the tape when he declared the exchange or the threat to the Ukraine government, I really feel sad about it. I really feel sad.
Too.
I really lost the confidence.
Because it's stupid, to do that.
In this guy. Okay.
And also,
yeah, you're right.
And don't forget,
if you want to act dirty, you probably want to act dirty on another elevation.
In the basement.
In the basement, or in the basement, or in the other element. Right?
And the other thing, he talks about morality. You know, he's kind of famous for wanting to huggy and touchy and kiss the back of girls' heads and, you know, that.
No, that's not a problem to me. I'm still...
Well, he did a lot. It was a problem to the girls.
I don't want to change my definition about those. Those are misdemeanors.
But I've never done a misdemeanor touching a girl inappropriately, and I never could.
Well, anyway,
most people can't.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right.
What I want
to take as a big deal is that we found out that the conclusion, the movement of the campaign was launched before evidence went out.
Yes, sir.
Right.
True.
And number two, in the evidence itself, nothing strong was found.
Right.
And number three, in the third step, so we found out that it doesn't mean that once Joe Biden did it, Donald Trump could do it.
No, of course not.
Or Donald Trump might have done it.
He didn't do what Biden did at all. Zero relationship to it.
And then, like I said in the very beginning, though, let's reverse it back to the beginning when we say how likely this impeachment is going to happen.
I think
with all these laid down here.
I think there's a 0 chance that President Trump will be removed from office after a trial headed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in the Senate, where you need 2/3 of the votes, of 100 votes, to vote the president out of office. We have a majority of Republicans.
Let's talk about the House.
Yeah.
In the House, how many votes do they have now?
Well, you know, they need 218 votes, okay, to move it on to the Senate. Right. And they may get that.
Do they have 218?
They're close. They're close. But don't forget, there's 31 congressmen that took over from a Republican district, and if they vote for impeachment, we'll have 31 more Republicans back in Congress because they would be hanging themselves because this is a sham, a farce, and an embarrassment of America to the world. It's an embarrassment.
In other words, even if they get the majority vote of the House, though, in the Senate, in the House of the Senate, though, there's no chance.
No chance.
No chance to get 2/3 of the votes.
No chance.
That's 66.
Yeah. All it does is eat the clock, eat the time, make time pass, and divert attention to the public of the real issues such as the strong economy and working with North Korea and China on trade.
Next thing is to find out, is Donald Trump being promoted or being defeated with this once?
Oh, I think it's going to help him.
Yeah,
because a lot of people just, we're tired of hearing about it because there's no substance to all of these deep state coup attempts to remove him from office for no reason other than hatred, and they want their power back. That's the bottom line to it. And I put my life on that.
Another question is that at this moment, when the image of a party,
yes, sir,
is so shaky
Yeah.
because of the wrongdoings, on and on. Take California, for example.
Yeah.
We are on the left, extreme left. We're going far, far away from where we're supposed to be. I'm talking about with one more added, like the last straw that break the camel's back. Well, would that damage or bring at least some kind of damage to the party's image?
Well, I think California is a very bad image for what was called the Democratic Party. It's probably a good image for the socialists that now have taken over the Democratic Party. They want all of America to be like California. They do, but it's not going to happen because all these states, other than the coastal states, are real regular Americans.
I'm not a partisan person, all right? I have no position of party, and I hate partisanship. However, when looking around at California, you see all kinds of strange stuff.
Yeah.
Not only the third bathroom. Remember that?
Right.
Not only the same-sex legalization in marriage. Not only the legalization of marijuana.
Yeah, right.
It goes on and on and on. And even the
Yeah.
kids' textbook will talk about so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
I believe that we've been there. We know what exactly it means if we keep on going that way, right? We would probably tap on the shoulder, say, "Hey, please, hold on your horse."
Yeah.
Well, probably we need time. It's time to go back home. Okay, my dear friend, my lovely audiences, we're a little over time, but I would like my editor do me a favor by cutting myself off, keep this sermon there more. All right, with my Ken Hemming, my friend Ken Hemming, we're finishing up on the bi-weekly update. See you next time.
Thank you, Jack.